What's up everyone, I'm just going to do a moveset overview for Akainu. Akainu is one of the best characters in the game and one of my favorite characters. Okay, so first we have the square string. Pretty average string, not like bad, not great. It gets the job done and it works in conjunction with his R1, which I'll talk about how later. Next we have square, triangle, triangle, triangle. This is his best move for comboing and crowd control, mostly because of the second part of it. This part right here where he throws the lava rocks deals a ton of damage and it launches the enemies high in the air for easy follow-ups. It also has a pretty good sized hitbox compared to other characters' launchers that normally just hit directly in front of them. So it's very useful both for comboing and crowd controlling, and it's also one of his best ways to set off his R1, which I'll go over later. Next we have square, square, triangle, triangle, triangle. This is another really good move for him. It's really good for comboing, really good for crowd control. It's very mobile, and it's very hard for him to get hit out of this move. Now the only downside to this move is that it doesn't set off his R1 until late in the string, which is, it would possibly be his best string if it would set it off earlier, but unfortunately it takes a little while for it to set off the R1, which is its only real downside. Now square, 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 triangle. This is a really good crowd control tool. Not so good for comboing, but it's good when you just want to throw out an attack real quick. So you can just kind of hit it. Once you hit the ground, you can dash and it'll erupt on its own eventually. So it's really good to kind of thin out crowds by running around and setting that pretty solid move. And it's one of his best ways to set off his R1 as well. Next we have square, 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 triangle. This is a pretty decent comboing and crowd control move. It's good to throw out and you can kind of stand in it and set up a variety of other options while you're in here, since the lava erupting will damage anybody. I don't use the move a lot, admittingly, but I think it's a pretty good move and you could do some really interesting setups off of it. Okay, so next we have his triangle strings. Triangle, triangle, triangle. Overall, it's not a very good string, mostly because the third hit will not connect properly. Bosses will normally hit the ground and become unhittable before the third hit connects if you use it in a launcher. If you use it while they're standing, it's okay, but once you have them in a juggle, it's not a good string. Next we have triangle, square, square, square. Oops, I missed that. It's a command grab. Now this is a really cool move. I like to use it to kill bosses in style, but it lasts really, really long and you're very vulnerable during it, so it's not super practical to use. Unfortunately, it's just not a very good move because of its duration. You can let the move go off earlier by not mashing the button, but even then you're not going to get a ton of damage. It's kind of a move that you'll use for styling and not so much for effectiveness. Okay, next we have triangle, triangle, square, square, square. This is a pretty solid move. It's the best of his triangle strings. Good for kind of doing a little juggle comboing as well as a little bit of crowd control with the reach that it has, a lot of forward reach. It's also good for using with his R1. Okay, next let's talk about his specials. Special 1. Simple hard hitting forward attack. Just use it when you need that damage, but you should be saving your meter for special 2. And his special 2 is one of the very, very best specials in the game. So as you can see there, his special 2, it's a really, really brutal move. It's a multi-hitting area effect. The multi-hit allows it to stun bosses and damage them after the stun. You know, some attacks are like single hit, so no matter how hard they hit, they're only ever going to stun the boss but not really deal a lot of damage to them. So this is a really good move to throw out when you want to get damage, when you want to stun, when you want to clear crowds. All-purpose move. It's really, really amazing special. Okay, so next we have his R1. His R1 is what leads to him being one of the best characters in the game, in my opinion. So first you press R1 and he will set this lava pit. Now, certain parts of strings will cause it to go up, like square, triangle. If you do square, 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 triangle, like I said earlier, it doesn't go up until very late in the string. Not until the finisher, as you saw there. Then we have square, 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 triangle, which goes off on impact. And then square, 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 triangle, which also goes off pretty much on impact. So his best moves to set it off, in my opinion, are square, triangle, 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 and square, 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 triangle. Those are the 2 strings I use the most for setting it off. Now, the really amazing thing about his R1 is that if you have an enemy sitting directly on top of it, if they're standing directly on top of this when it erupts, it deals massive spike damage. Absolutely ridiculous damage. It will pretty much one-shot a Nightmare Dreamlog boss, even if you're not even leveled up. Even if you don't even really have skills optimized towards damaging. If you get a boss directly in the center of it and you erupt this, preferably with something like square, triangle, they're basically dead. Or they're very close to dead. If you watch one of my recent challenge video, DLC challenge videos I put up, you can kind of see how I utilize that move to deal massive damage to bosses, even though I was only level 50. I try to set it up as much as I can. It can be very difficult to set up. It's best to try to set it up in a wall, so if you can push the boss into the wall and then just kind of push them in the wall with it, it helps you set it up really easy. See, if you get them like that and all those lava rocks hit, it's very crazy damage. Okay, so as for setups, I don't use a lot of setups with this character, not like combo setups. With this character, it's more about zoning. I focus on the zoning game, and I focus on filling the map up with a lot of stuff. Like, I'll lay an R1 here, and then I'll go across the map and do stuff like that while my R1's going off on the other side of the map. Like, let's say you're gonna capture a keep. Let me go to a keep real quick. So let's say I throw my R1 right here where enemies are gonna spawn. Whoops, I got hit, so it disappeared. Yeah, that's one thing you can't get knocked back, or that will disappear. So, you know, I can kind of be over here throwing out my square triangles while it's over there erupting near where they spawn, which can help me clear a room easier. If you want to combo with Akainu, you're pretty much just going to be alternating between like square, triangle, triangle, or square, square, triangle, triangle. His other moves are not very combo friendly. I'd say that's pretty much it. There's not a lot. It's mostly about how you use your R1 with Akainu. That's what's really going to make you very effective when playing as him, using his R1 very intelligently for comboing and for helping you maximize your crowd control. And if you want to do combos, just kind of mix it up between his square triangle or his square square triangle. Let's say you want to combo into an R1. Do a square triangle, R1, whoops, try that again. You can do square triangle, and when they launch after the first hit, you can go into R1. to kind of set up a combo. You have to let it go off though. I dash cancel too early. So there we go. Set the R1 and you can dash cancel. It's very tricky to get a follow-up, but it's best to try to do it in the corner. I wouldn't really do it outside of the corner because you're probably not going to get a good setup off of it anyways because you're going to push them away from the pit. But if you do get them in the corner and you don't have a pit down, just do like a square triangle, R1, and then you can try to get them with that big damage from there. So that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, just leave a comment. Peace.